Oh my god. Okay. That's full series FC. Contrary to popular belief, I actually don't have that much to say. I feel like it's pretty self-explanatory. But there it is. Hey guys, Nolan from a couple days later here. The other night, I finally managed to FC Through the Fire and Flames from Guitar Hero 3 on Expert Guitar, therefore completing my full series FC. Now, I've played a lot of Guitar Hero, and I have a lot of FCs, so I'm pretty rarely at a loss for words when it comes to my accomplishments. But with this, I was genuinely speechless. It was like my brain could not form cohesive thoughts in that moment. And I think that comes across in the video too. I struggled to even remove the guitar from my body after hitting the last note. That being said, this FC marks an extremely important milestone, and now that some time has passed, I can actually share some thoughts. Given that I also have 767 stat screens to show in this video though, I'm going to go ahead and start playing the full series FC slideshow on screen, starting now. The Guitar Hero 3 chart of Through the Fire and Flames is not the hardest FC in the Guitar Hero series. It is extremely difficult, clearly, but I do not think anybody who has completed the full series FC would give it the #1 spot. I know it was the last one I had left, but I wouldn't call it the hardest either. One thing that this chart would do more than any other, though, is make me nervous. On paper, I've been very close to the FC for a very long time. My first -1 run was close to a year ago now. But it seemed no matter how many times I would make it to the solo, I would be so tense before even really getting to the hard sections. I could be on my 5th or 6th FC run of the session and still freeze up on a random part because I just scared myself thinking too much about it. Other times, I'd get so frazzled that I would revert back to missing Bridge 1 run after run, sometimes never even getting past it again that session. After playing this song for years and years, the only sections that I still lack consistency at in practice mode are Bridge 1 and the Red Snake. In an actual attempt though, it was like all bets are off. This was very discouraging for a long time, especially since I knew that I always had low odds of hitting the snake on a post-solo run. As it turns out, I did make it past the solo eventually. Quite a few times in fact. And as expected, I kept missing the Red Snake. This happened for the first time back in June of last year and continued to occur more times than I'd like to admit. I fully expect some of you to mock my Red Snake method, but please believe me when I say that it is the only method I've ever gotten to work more than about 5% of the time. To clarify, I have hit the Red Snake many different ways, just not very often. Luckily, I had only one post-snake choke, which I chose to include at the start of this video. I simply went too early and too fast on that blue-orange trail at the end, which is unfortunate but completely understandable. That was the same day of the FC. On the FC run, my star power usage was really sloppy, I was slouching for most of the song, and I barely felt anything until it was time to attempt this red snake. And at first, after FCing it, I was like, why was that the run? By all accounts, it wasn't really a great performance, apart from hitting all the notes. But watching it back now, I think that I had finally reached the point where this song no longer made me nervous. Especially since I had just missed the outro a few hours prior, it felt like the run had to occur at some point. Even hitting the snake on an FC run for the second time that day was a much milder shock than the first. The mental pressure behind Through the Fire and Flames had finally been lifted, which is an extremely complex emotion that I had to really think about to define. And that, I think, is why I became speechless. Now, as for the full Series FC itself, having it finally completed is huge. I've been working towards this achievement pretty much since I became good enough at the game to get more than a handful of FCs. Some of the pictures in this slideshow are over a decade old, if that helps to illustrate my point. When I first took over control of this YouTube channel and started posting my FCs on Score Hero again, there were so many songs that I remember thinking, I will never ever FC this. And at that point in time, I did not anticipate ever finishing the full Series FC on guitar. But that didn't stop me from chipping away at what I could. I just wanted to see how far I could get. It turns out, doing that long enough eventually made it possible for me to push through and do it all.